Good evening, Patriot friends. I'm just going to quickly give you the second portion of today's proceedings because they're finally out and available from Inner City Press. They are the ones, one of the only ones really, that's been reporting from what's going on live from inside, even though, no cameras are allowed, but they text and tweet from the courthouse. Okay, so we're going to start now with Jane's ex-boyfriend. He's going to be on the stand. So the Assistant U.S. Attorney Moe, that's Allison Moe, begins. How do you know Jane? Matt. She's my ex-girlfriend. From 2006 to 2014. Moe. Did you live together? Matt. Yes. From 2007 to 2014. Moe. Are you still friends? Matt. Yes, and we work on the same TV show. Moe. What did Jane tell you about her home life? Maxwell's lawyer. Objection. Judge Nathan. Any foundation? Maxwell's lawyer. It's hearsay. Another non-public sidebar. This Maxwell's lawyer is a piece of work. The prosecution had about 20 objections today in the morning session that I covered. I mean, just unbelievable. A ton of objections, all of them sustained. And she's trying mercilessly to discredit the witness's memory and everything. They return. Judge Nathan. Ms. Moe, I'll ask you to narrow the question. Okay, fair enough. Moe, did Jane speak about her family finances when she grew up? Matt, yes. That when her father got sick, they went broke. The mother was working a small job. They were in the same bed. Matt, she told me she had a godfather. Later, she told me it was Jeffrey Epstein. I said, he helped pay your bills? She said, yes. Moe, when did she tell you she met Epstein? Maxwell's lawyer. Objection. Judge Nathan, ask more specific questions. Moe, did Jane tell you what happened between her and Jeffrey Epstein? Matt, not specifically. Moe, did she say why he gave her money? Matt, she just said it wasn't free. Moe, did they tell you about a woman who was involved? Matt, yes. Moe, did she give the woman's name? Matt, no. Moe, what was her demeanor like when Jane told you about Jeffrey Epstein? Matt, shame. Moe, what did Jane tell her mother? Matt, that the money was not free. Moe, don't say what the mother said, just what Jane said. Matt, Jane told her mother that the money was not free and that it should not have been allowed. Moe, did you learn Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested? Matt, yes, on the news. I asked Jane, is that the woman you told me about? And she said yes. Moe, no further questions. Then Maxwell's lawyer, no cross, next witness, Daniel Vesselson of Interlaken. Moe, where is Interlaken, Michigan? Vesselson, near Traverse City. Moe, how do you keep fundraising records? Vesselson, Salesforce. Moe, we offer GX744 under seal, now GX741. Vesselson, a letter to Mr. Epstein about the scholarship lodge, how much he'd give. Moe, what's this? Vesselson, the lodge formerly known as the Jeffrey Epstein Lodge. Note, it was definitely time for a name change. Now at 4:59 p.m., cross-examination starts. Like, what's the point? They're going to finish. They finish at 5 typically. Maxwell's lawyer, you don't have records for the individual and the individual siblings, correct? Vesselson, correct. Maxwell's lawyer, Mr. Epstein certainly was a major donor, correct? Vesselson, yes. And with that, Vesselson is done. Judge Nathan, sorry we're 2 minutes late. Have a good night. Clerk, all rise. Okay, so now this is interesting. This is the New York Times take on today. And notice how they just have a very different, obviously biased way of reporting and summarizing it. So they say the defense questioned Jane's account of Ghislaine Maxwell's involvement in her abuse. A former boyfriend said Jane told him about some of the abuse. A defense lawyer, see, look at here they put in this little teaser. A defense lawyer uses The Lion King to trip up Ghislaine Maxwell's accuser on the stand. A trip to New York to see The Lion King on Broadway was at the center. See, they say it was at the center of a sharp exchange, but we didn't even get that exchange from inner city press. So, I mean, how important really was it? Anyway, I've just finished reading you what the New York Slimes says. At the center of a sharp exchange in court on Wednesday today, as a lawyer defending Ghislaine Maxwell against sex trafficking charges tried to chip away at the testimony of a woman who says she was sexually abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Maxwell when she was a teenager. The woman, identified only as Jane, in the trial, again, this is the New York Times little synopsis of the day, had once told investigators that Mr. Epstein flew her to New York on his private jet to see The Lion King on Broadway in 1994 when she was 14. By then, according to the vivid account Jane testified to on Tuesday, Mr. Epstein and his longtime companion, Ms. Maxwell, had already pulled her into a pattern of persistent sexual abuse. Ms. Maxwell's lawyer, Laura Menninger, pounced on the 1994 date. Here we go. The Lion King did not come out until 1997, Ms. Menninger asked the witness. Questioned at length, Jane testified that she had been incorrect in my timeline. The exchange was emblematic of the defense's attempt to undercut the testimony of the first of the four accusers the government is expected to call to testify during the trial. The defense also once again elicited testimony about the celebrities in the orbit of Mr. Epstein and Mr. Maxwell and Ms. Maxwell. Now, notice they're going to dump Trump's name in there. Look, on the witness stand, Jane said Mr. Epstein had taken her to Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida in the 1990s, where she said she met Mr. Trump. Ms. Menninger began the cross-examination on Wednesday by asking Jane what she had told family members about her initial meeting with Mr. Epstein while she was away at summer camp in Michigan in 1994. Jane testified on Tuesday that Ms. Maxwell had approached her first and that Mr. Epstein had begun speaking with her afterwards. But Ms. Menninger suggested that Jane had earlier told her older and younger brothers that she had been first approached by Mr. Epstein. See, so she's just trying to, it's been a while. I mean, I don't remember what I did yesterday, so she's just trying to trip her up. Sort of like being shortchanged at the store, True, I'm not going to go through that whole thing. It's just the New York Times wanting to highlight Trump and, their stupid spin on it, and I'm just not even going to bother because it's late and they piss me off. So there you have it. That was today's proceedings. Not much happens in a day. It's like they come in, they take a break, and then they take another break, and then they go for lunch. Like when all is, laid out, literally, I think they're in there for 15 minutes total in the whole day. It's like, no wonder why this thing takes 6 weeks. But we'll see what happens tomorrow and, who they bring on to the stand tomorrow. Not so much happened today. There was actually more that happened yesterday because Jane really got into some of the abuse, which was hard for me to relay. All right. Buenas noches. Hasta luego.